Every morning when I get out of bed, I feel the weight of the world is filling my head. Drag my feet crossing the floor, looking down at the ground, can't take it no more. They say a change is gonna come. Every time that they push you around, you gotta use your voice, gotta stand your ground. Sell your soul to the company store, gonna pound on you till you can't take no more. Till you rise up, don't wanna play your games. Rise up, I'm gonna make that change. Rise up, I'm gonna stake my claim. When the world is getting you down, you gotta use your voice, gotta stand your ground. Take your fears, throw them all away, yeah. Don't wanna play your game. I'm gonna make that change. I'm gonna stake my claim. Yeah, I'm gonna rise up. Yeah, I'm gonna stake my claim. I wanna play your game. You're gonna know my name. Gonna stake my claim. Wolf and sharks, they keep beating me down. Take my words, spin them all around. Sell my soul to the company store. Gonna pound on me till I can't take no more. Don't wanna play your games. I'm gonna stay the same. Stay the same. Gonna stake my claim. Baby, gonna rise up. Yeah, I'm gonna stake my claim. Stake my claim. Stake my claim.
Welcome to Coffee with Chris. I'm joined today by accomplished blues singer-songwriter musician Vito Dilecce. Vito, we just heard your song, Stake My Claim. One, thank you so much for your time and being here. And two, what a powerful song. Talk to me about this song.
Well, thanks very much for having me, Chris. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the compliments on the new song. Yeah, that's something that's been a long time coming. I've been singing in bands touring around Southern Ontario for years and years and years, singing a lot of covers, which are great, but there's music inside me, and I'm starting to get it out. I've been teaching myself guitar for the last 8 years or so I can do the songwriting, and it's the start of my new album.
So you're actually going out on your own as a a blues soloist now, is that right?
Well, somewhat. It's sort of a retirement plan down the road, but once I get the songs, then what I can do is gather a bunch of musicians, and then I've got a band. It's really hard to collab when you've got something, some music inside you. Sometimes it's hard to explain what you're looking for from somebody. So if you can develop the basics yourself, and that's what a lot of these are. Like, I'm doing all the instruments currently, but I am going to start bringing in proper musicians, bass players, drummers, the whole 9 yards down the road. That's what I'm working on right now.
So it sounds like you're a multi-instrument player. What else do you do besides, I know you do a little bit of the guitar, and singing, what other instruments do you play?
Well, I can play a little bit of bass, but when I say limited, a little bit of keyboards, everything's very limited. I've never taken a lesson in my life on anything. I'm just that type of person that sees something and figures if I want to do it, I can figure it out. And that's basically how I'm doing this whole thing. Even the mixing, I'm doing it myself.
Wow. So on your song "Stake My Claim," is that you playing everything?
Yeah, I do have a little help with the bass and the drums, and from the electronic standpoint, but I program that, and everything's me. Backups, bass, everything else. Yeah.
That's amazing. And how long have you been active in the music industry?
Wow. I sort of fluked into it, I guess, when I was about 40, which was 20 years ago now. Just fluked into the business, and we just took off, and it was nonstop, and then got married again, and you know how that goes sometimes. And now that I've got a little more time on my hands, I'm writing my own stuff because there's music inside me. Now that I can play guitar, I can get it out.
So why the genre of blues? Why not country or rock or metal or scream or something like that?
I think I was born in the 60s, and I should have been a teenager in the 60s because the music from the 60s really moved me my entire life. Some of my heroes were like Jimi Hendrix, Cream, Eric Clapton, the Stones, Stevie Ray Vaughan, lots of talented, but they're all blues-based musicians. And I've been told on a number of occasions that I sound like Joe Cocker or Greg Allman or David Clayton Thomas. I've got a similar sounding voice, but you don't hear a lot of. So now I'm trying to write my own stuff to I want to get it out there. I think there's a market out there for that 60s sound again.
That's really cool. And are you currently touring? Are you doing any open mics or gigs around the GTA, or is it just kind of focusing on getting the set list?
Currently, what I'm working on is I'm working on an album. I figure I put Stake Your Claim out, and primarily I put that out. I did that over the Christmas holidays. I put that out for my musician friends because I needed their stamp of approval whether I was going to continue or not. Because if they went, yeah, it's okay, but I got a lot of really good feedback, so I said, okay, let's press on, and I'm going to do a whole album now. So that's my focus for the next year and a half, roughly.
And when you look at this next album, how many songs are you looking to accomplish on it?
I want to get a minimum of at least 10. And I'd like to have some variety, different sort of tempos and feeling to it.
That's awesome. It's like, I mean, when we chat about being a musician and you've been in the industry, you have your influences from the 60s and forward. Like, is there some band that you say, this is the singer, the songwriter, the musician, that this is the one that sticks out the most? I know you gave a bunch of examples, but is there one that really shines for you outside of everyone else?
Chris, it's like asking me what my favorite song is. Unfortunately, different things move me at different times. Like music's that force that brings you back to a different time or puts you in a different mood. Like there's a lot of really great bands out there today, and I enjoy them all. Some of the styles I'm not too fussy on, but I can appreciate the music and sentiment behind the music. But I can't give you one band. There's just so many bands. One of my favorite. Well, I shouldn't say that because I've got so many. One of my big influences, the Allman Brothers. Love the Allman Brothers. Great jam band. Greg Allman's got a fantastic voice. Well, had a fantastic voice. There's just a lot of really good talent out there today.
Well, you really took away my next question of what was your favorite song.
Well, like I said, it's a tough one. It's great because I have a son, and he introduces to me stuff that I would never hear anywhere else. Some of the new stuff. There's a band out of Iceland called Kaleo. Fantastic. For me, I'm a singer primarily, so the voice means everything, and he's got a fantastic voice, a beautiful voice, even when he's singing in Icelandic.
So a lot of musicians, and I'd love to hear your insight on this, talk about this emotional epiphany or emotional connection between the song that gets written versus the song that gets recorded and produced, and the changes that get made along the way. Is that something that kind of happens with you? You fall in love with the writing, you've tried it out, and then when you record it, you're like, it's just not mainstream enough? Or do you still like to keep it raw and emotional?
For me personally, it's all about being raw and emotional. whatever comes from within, I'm trying to get out. Because I've been singing for a lot of years, and I can write. Honestly, I've been able to write lyrics quite easily most times if I have a piece of music. Now I'm able to create my own music, so I write to my own music, which is it's challenging because you got to think of structure. There's a lot of things that go on in a song you don't think about when you're listening to it, but there's a lot of mechanics behind it.
So walk me
And I'm
through what
learning
a bit
as
of
I
that
go.
looks like.
Sorry, Chris.
No, when you talk about structure of a song, and I mean, not many of the listeners and viewers will fully understand what you mean by that. I was wondering if you could just give a quick example of what do you mean by
Sure.
the structure?
It's like if you're writing somebody a letter, you have the introduction, you have the major content, or in this case, it'd be a verse, chorus, depends on the structure. And then you have an ending. And you may have, depending, in the old days, you would always have a solo in there. These days, they don't do that so much. Solos aren't very important anymore.
Okay. Why do you feel that is, that there's no solo moment anymore?
You know what? I'm not sure exactly why. I think because, as I said, I'm a vocalist. So the focus is always on the vocalist, even though he's just another member or she's another member in the band. But people, you can sing along. You can't play guitar along with a guitarist when he's doing that awesome solo you want to hear, but you can sing along. So, and if you notice a lot of the new music that comes out, even the pop music, it's very repetitive. So it's easy to catch on and you can sing along with it. There's not a lot of musicianship in some of it. I don't want to bash anything, but I'm just saying, if you listen to some of that music, it's very repetitive. So it's easy for the listener to go, hey, I like that song. I can sing along with the song. It's catchy. I got it.
Okay. Now, when we get back to this industry here, you've been dabbling in it, as what you had said, for, I'll say 10 years, but I think it's more 40 plus for you.
20 years. It's 20 years I've been doing this.
So when you got started, what are the challenges that you're finding out throughout the timeline here? When you first started till now, what are the biggest challenges and changes that you've noticed?
Well, what I've noticed as I've gotten older, the challenges are keeping the musicians together in a band. Hence why I started this solo project. I'm still getting together with guys and playing and singing, but as we get older, we have children, we have grandchildren, people get ill, people have retired, they go on trips. I know so many really good musicians, but they're busy with family life, unfortunately.
So for you being this soloist, what do you find is your biggest challenge so far?
Well, it's a big undertaking. Right? You're doing everything, you got to play in every instrument. You have to listen to it about 1,000,000 times and think, and then listen to it again and again and again. You have to learn how to play different instruments, and if you want to put this in here or that in there, and you'll have to learn how the mixing software works. It's been a challenge, but I'm always up for the challenge. I love it.
Nice. And where can people learn more about you? Where can people learn more about Stake Your Claim and follow you? Like, where can we learn more?
So if you go to on YouTube, I've started a new channel for my new album. Right now it's just Stake My Claim, and it's at Vito Dilecce 850, which is VITO DILECCE 850. And that's on YouTube. And there'll be more songs coming out. I'm actually going to put some original stuff I recorded years ago with my old band up there at some point.
That's fabulous. So when can we expect the new song from Vito? We're going to go
to I've got 3 in the works right now. And I'm hoping to be finished the next one, hopefully by the end of March. It's always a timing thing. It's sometimes you listen to a song over and over again, and it just isn't working for me. It's got to have some sort of punch. It's got to grab the audience and pull them in. And
so when we talk about this song that's hopefully coming out in March for you, which I think is like 2 weeks, by the way, just want to remind you of your
calendar.
End of March.
I got to give myself a few more weeks.
What was the emotional drive behind this song? Let it give us a little sneak peek of what this song near the end of March is kind of about.
Well, I'd rather not at this stage give you a little quick peek. I will tell you, listen, I'll tell you, I sing the blues for a reason, and the lyrics reflect that. Okay. This one, the new one that's coming out, is called Crush My Soul. There's another one I haven't given it a title yet. That'll be coming out in April probably, but it's funny when you sing the blues, you feel it from your soul.
So did I hear you correctly? Crushed My Soul is the soft title right now on that one.
No, it's Crush My Soul. Yes, that's the one I've been working on.
All right. Now you're going to be releasing 10 new songs, hopefully all in 2023, right?
20, probably halfway through 2024 to be realistic. It's a big undertaking.
So when people look at these writing of these songs and undertaking it, some people say, that moment hits them and they just can't drop the pen and they keep going. Do you find that as well, that sometimes inspiration just hits you and you can't put the pen down until it's out, or do you walk away from it?
Well, it's interesting. The way I like to write, and what I find is if something moves me, if I hear something, I'll just start spewing out words, and usually I can make them rhyme. Not all the time at first, but I get a sense of where the song's going, what the song's about, and then from there I'll work on the rest of the song, and then I'll write to whatever the chorus was. It's typically the hook.
Okay. Now, most musicians I hear, and certainly other people in the entertainment business, usually carry a notebook with them, but with the advancements of technology, it's now on their phone. Are you ever in like a restaurant or doing something mundane and you're like, bam, there's my inspiration, and pull out the pen and paper? Or are you more of a recording your notes on your cell phone?
No, I don't even do that when I'm out. I've got to be in the mood if I'm going to do it, I'll just start, it'll be going through my head. But if I'm with a bunch of people, it won't happen. I've got to be listening to the music, close my eyes, and I feel the music and what's coming. What am I hearing? And then from there, what's going on in the world sometimes. I wrote a song about, and that should be coming out soon too. What was it, last year? I think it was last year do you remember when all the, they were all those young kids were committing suicide up north? Do you remember that?
Unfortunately,
well,
yes.
I wrote a song to that. I've been singing this song and playing this for the last couple of years. I just recorded it with some friends of mine on the weekend. So I'm going to try to clean that up and re-record the vocals in it. But that one was done because something like that moved me at the time. And it was easy to write. It took me, I don't know, 5-10 minutes to write. Other ones take me 2.5 hours to write. Depends on how I'm feeling.
It's really neat when people start exploring their emotional connection behind their songs or their creative outlets like that. I love hearing those stories, where not the suicide one, but the one where it's, hey, this meant so much to me and I poured my heart and soul into it, and you can hear it in I'll use the word, the pain and the emotions and the real motivation behind those songs. So a hard-hitting question for you, Vito. What is something that people tend to misunderstand about you?
Well, I'm very high energy, Chris. I don't know if we pick up on that or not. And I think people think I'm very aggressive and I've got to be the life of the party and the center of attention, where in actual fact, I'm quite quiet. Most of my life I've been in sales. So I'm always talking to people, dealing with people. So in my private life, I just want to be quiet. Quiet night in. I don't really, if I go to a party, I don't want to, I'll socialize. But if there's music playing, I can't hear a word anybody. You could be talking to me a foot away, I cannot hear you. I just hear the music. So I usually sort of sit back at a party unless the party's done, then I'll pick it up and I'll get involved and back off again.
Okay. And what's like, if you could go back in time and say, this is what I would tell my younger self, knowing what you know now about this industry, what would that be?
Honestly, if I was to go back in time, I got married at a young age and started a family and a career and did all that. That's why I got into music late in life. I should have, if I could go back, I would have said to myself, give yourself 5 years, see what you can do, and pushed hard.
Wow. And if you had any advice or motivational words for the young, inspiring musicians up and coming, trying to get in this industry, what would you tell them?
Just let it come from your soul and just keep going for what you want. You'll get it one day.
Wow. It's just, I love talking with musicians much like yourself, where you have this, I'm going to use the word gruffness to it, where it's all about passion. A lot of people are looking for this instantaneous success with Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and all these forums. Not that we're sponsored by any of them. But it's really nice to always chat with somebody where you just got to keep working hard. You got to keep pursuing your passion. You got to keep pursuing that love and drive, and eventually that will come and happen for you. Or in some cases it doesn't. But when you are working at what you love, it doesn't feel like work, does it?
Well, Chris, that's what I was going to say. It's, you know, people want to chase their dreams, we'll say, but at the end of the day, if you love the music, that should be the only thing that's important. And listen, if you get lucky, and there's lots of talented musicians out there who just don't get a break. I've heard lots of great singers, guitar, and like all kinds of musicians. It's a tough business, just like for you, acting's a tough business to get in, right? A select few get in for whatever reasons. You can't do it for that reason. You really got to do it for the love of it. But if you're young and you're living at home and you've got time on your side where you can try to go do that, when you're, you know, if you got a family of three and a wife, you know, it's tough to have start a music career.
So what would be your musical career goal right now? I mean, you have the album coming out. You're going to get 10 songs by mid 2024 for us. What is oh my God, this is amazing moment for Vito in the musical career?
Well, the plan is once I get that done, I'm going to see if I can maybe do a little touring. I've never done any touring outside of Ontario with music. So I'd like to take time and maybe do a 3-week tour or something across Canada or into the States or something like that.
And would you take the Canadian tuxedo I see that you're wearing along with you?
Well, yeah, it all depends how cold it is.
So I love that. I think that's fabulous that if you'll be able to put on a little mini tour across Canada is what I'm going to tell you. But I mean, if you can get into the States and everywhere else, that would be fabulous as well.
For sure.
Outside of your YouTube channel, is there anywhere else that people can hear your song? Are you on Spotify, on Apple Play?
No, I haven't posted yet. I'm just waiting to get more songs together. I'm going to start posting once a month or once a week. I haven't decided yet. I got to be honest, I'm not up on the whole marketing on social media. So I need a little help with that. I'll find somebody to give me a hand with that when the time comes. But I want to finish the album so that you don't go and just find one song. Right. You know, I've got lots of photos from the years where I've been singing all over Ontario, but I'll post those too. I got to get a proper channel done. Once I get the album done, and that's when the marketing is going to start.
So I want to ask you a question more about a societal norm and stuff. When we look at society, what is something that Vito believes we need to start doing as of tomorrow or stop doing right away to be kind of a better, more harmonious place?
Well, that's a loaded question. To be quite honest with you, Chris, you know, after this whole COVID, with what's gone on with COVID and the greed that's out in the marketplace, people have to be nicer to each other. You know, we're all in this together, and, you know, how much stuff could you really own? Like, how important is money? That's the bottom line. It's the way I see it. If we're all nicer to each other, and, you know, they're not taking this opportunity to make as much money as they can, because they can, they should think people are suffering, right? You and I may be okay, but there's a lot of people who can't make ends meet, you know. Mortgage rates go up, they got to walk away from their homes. It's tough. It's tough. But that's my artistic view out on the world. But I'm not very materialistic at all.
Hey, I think that the world needs a lot more tolerance for sure, and being nicer to people. You never know what someone's going through. I love that you said it.
Yeah, but what's the point of being angry with somebody, right? That's the way I look at it. If we're all nice to each other, the world would be a better place.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I know, but it's pretty simplistic. I know. I realize that.
I have time for one last question for you, Vito, sure. And it's the hardest question that you're going to have the entire time with me today. Is what makes you smile?
What makes me smile? There's a lot of things that make me smile. You know, like walking out in nature makes me, like, just everyday things make me smile. But I like to laugh. You know, somebody says something funny, or, you know, as long as it's not harmful to somebody else, that makes me smile. You know, I like to see people in good mood. I try to, you know, like I said, I've been in sales for a long time. So when I talk to people, I always try to make them laugh, because it breaks a barrier and people feel more comfortable, right? It's like music, breaks barriers.
It's amazing. It reminds me of the best joke where, you know, a friend of mine got fired for being a janitor. He was a really aggressive sweeper. He was known to sweep people off their feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I don't have any drums in here, but
didn't have time for that rim shot, eh?
Yeah. Well, there's no drums in this room.
Well, listen, everybody, that's all the time we have today with Coffee with Chris. Vito, I really appreciate your time, and thank you for being here. Stake My Claim out on YouTube at the beginning of this video as well. Remember, everybody, to have a fantastic day and smile to inspire.